We gathered together today as a dear family and friends of Michael S. Klein. As we mourn his loss, must also celebrate the full, rich life he led. Death has taken our beloved Mike. Friends grieve in their darkened world. In their silence there is lamentation. In their tears there is loneliness. Lost in their sorrow, may they find the presence of loving friends. Hear them, O God, and be with them. For his love that united us in life, and which death cannot sever. For his companionship which we shared along life's path, and which still continues through the tenderness of memory. For the gifts of his heart and his mind, which brought us joy and happiness, and now become a precious heritage of the Spirit. For all these and more, God, we give you our praise. In his sorrow, Job cried out, Adonai natan, v'nai lakach, yehi Shem Adonai mevarach. God has given, God has taken away. Blessed be the name of God. An ancient people were well acquainted with grief and with the valley of shadows. Death and sorrow are not strangers to us, yet the centuries have taught us a good name endures beyond the grave, and there is strength in faith. With Job we say, Adonai natan, God you have given. You gave us a loved one who will not be forgotten. For all was good and enduring in his life, we offer the deepest thanks of our hearts. Poem by Kathy Zink. Take time to talk, for you may ask of all things unknown to you. Take time to laugh, for smiles relinquish sorrow and spread happiness. Take time to think, for the realm of knowledge is never ending. Take time to see, for there is beauty in every part of the world around you. Take time to feel, for the emotions of your heart often control the reasoning of your mind. Take time to live, for each day was filled with new opportunities that will be gone tomorrow. Take time to dream, for survival is forever challenging the powers of your imagination. Take time to love, for the sharing of all these things is a true miracle of life. He's achieved success who has lived well, laughed often, and loved much, who's gained the respect of intelligent men and the love of little children, who has filled his niche and accomplished his task, who left the world better than he found it, whether by an improved copy, a perfect poem, or a rescued soul, who has never lacked appreciation of earth's beauty or failed to express it, who has always looked for the best in others and given the best he had, whose life was inspiration, whose memory a benediction. A poem entitled, To My Father. A giant pine, magnificent and old, stood staunch against the sky, and all around shed beauty, grace, and power. Within its fold birds safely reared their young. Beneath was gentle, and the cooling shade gave cheer to passers-by. Its towering arms a landmark stood erect and unafraid, as if to say, fear naught from life's alarms. It fell one day. Where it had dauntless stood was loneliness and void. But men who passed paid tribute said, to know this life was good. It left its mark on me. Its work stands fast. And so it lives, such life no bonds can hold. The giant pine, magnificent and bold. Adonai ro'i lo exar, bina desha yarbit seni, almei menachot yanachaleni. Please join me now in the familiar words of the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters, and restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Our tradition describes three aspects of living that a person should strive for. Ayin Tov, a good eye, Lev Tov, a good heart, and Chaver Tov, a good companion. Each of us hopes to live a life full life, one that appreciates the creativity and beauty of our world, one that enables us to share our values with loved ones. Michael Klein led such a life. He was born in LaSalle, Illinois on May 25, 1938, to Abner and Janet Klein. He grew up in Peoria, Illinois with his younger sister, Nancy. Mike started playing golf at the age of 9, and this began a love of the game that continued for the rest of his life. Mike made it into his high school Hall of Fame for golf. Then he attended University of Wisconsin-Madison, where he became a fierce Badgers fan. Mike earned a degree in marketing and was ROTC and involved in AE Pi fraternity. Mike met Margie in college. They got married and moved to Milwaukee, then Chicago, where Elizabeth was born, then to Pittsburgh, where Dean and Robin were born. The time in Pittsburgh began his love of the Steelers. Mike decided to go into business with his then father-in-law at M&D Simon Shirts and Ties, and the family moved here to Cleveland. Elizabeth, Dean, and Robin have fond memories of growing up in Shaker Heights in what they now realize was a very privileged lifestyle. They enjoyed traveling as a family to the beach in Beach Haven, New Jersey, and trips to California, Florida, Arizona, or skiing in Utah. Mike had season tickets to the Cavaliers and enjoyed taking the kids out to the Richfield Coliseum. In the summer, their father would take them out to the golf course after dinner to hit balls and putt. Mike was a member of Beachmont Country Club and Firestone in Akron. He loved golf, and as I'm sure you all know, he was very good. Mike played 18 holes the day he passed away. Even after Mike and Margie divorced, they remained good friends and partners in parenting their children. Mike was very involved in his grandchildren's lives. He liked to go out to lunch with Leah and Jonah to hear about what was going on in their lives and give his 2 cents. He took Jonah on overnights to Pittsburgh to Steelers games, and Mike liked to visit Leah at Ohio State to see a football game. Mike would call Jacob on the phone about once a week to discuss sports. He was so proud of all his children and all his grandchildren. Throughout his life, Mike possessed an a good eye when it came to business. He had good instincts about the market. Mike loved to go to Las Vegas to play blackjack or bet on sports. Mike's picture was on the wall of the Palm, up there with the celebrities. He was so proud he knew the manager. He would send friends to go see his picture whenever they were out in Vegas. Mike was very intelligent. His children, and probably business associates as well, quickly learned they couldn't pull anything off on him. Mike possessed a good heart. He was very generous, but he never wanted his name on anything. He made anonymous gifts and was private about his philanthropy. Mike was rooted here in Cleveland. He was on the board of directors of Point East and a longtime member of Park Synagogue. He was proud when his children were involved in the synagogue or became B'nai Mitzvah. Mike contributed to Park Day Camp, which was a favorite of his, and enjoyed coming to services. He liked to talk with Rabbi Cohen and Rev Lev. Mike lived a life of integrity. What you saw was what you got. He was very direct, and you knew what he thought. His friends respected and counted on that. He loved interacting with people, the banter, the teasing. People remembered their interactions with Mike. Mike was charismatic and fun to be around. Everyone knew when Mike Klein was in the room. He had a zest for life, and Mike loved life. He always had something positive he wanted to share with you, and Mike shared in other people's happiness. He had strong convictions about things and was a very strong-willed person. He was kind, sensitive, and quick to give to others, a trait he passed down to his children. And finally, Mike shared the last 12 years with his Chaver Tov, his good companion and life partner, Jackie. A mutual friend introduced them, and they became inseparable ever since. Jackie's an amazing athlete, and she taught Mike to eat healthier and to exercise. Together they played golf and loved to travel to Miami Beach, Palm Springs, Portugal, Spain. They went to football games. Mike introduced Jackie to Judaism and Park Synagogue. Mike also maintained friendships from elementary school, high school, and college days. Every year, Mike would go to meet college friends, to go to Madison or Chicago for a Badgers football game. He was always a devoted friend. The loss of Mike is a terrible shock to all of us. But Mike's legacy will live on through his loved ones, through his loving children, Elizabeth and Earl, Dean, Robin, and Herb, through his beloved partner Jackie and Jackie's son Jimmy, through his devoted grandchildren Leah, Jonah, Zachary, Zoe, and Jacob, through his sister and brother-in-law Nancy and Sandy and his nieces and nephews, Allison and Curtis, Debbie of blessed memory, and Scott, and his dear friends, Margie and Jill, and so many others from throughout the whole country and his life's journey. May Mike's memory continue with us as we continue in life. May we honor his memory through our deeds and our words, always upholding the finer things in life, generosity of the spirit, and courage to continue to live life to the fullest. Zecher Sadik Livracha. May the memory of Michael Klein be a blessing. Let us all say amen. I'd now like to invite Mike's son, Dean, to come forward. He's going to speak on behalf of the children. I think his sisters are going to join him. And then Zachary and Jacob on behalf of all the grandchildren. You guys come up here.
Wow. Thank you for your support of my family during these difficult times. Thank you for being here today for those who are joining from afar. We also would like to mention family members who've passed before us: Janet and Abner Klein, Debbie Scher Jaffe, Fred Simon, and Edward and Betty Simon. I'm standing here representing not merely myself, but my sister Robin and my sister Elizabeth as well. The words that follow are not my words, but our words. My father's sudden passing has been devastating. My father always showed up. He was present, active in all of our lives, interested in what we chose to do, who we were with, what we thought, and what we believed. This was also true with all of his close friends and business associates. This was really a beautiful part of him. He was a glass half full person. He was generally a happy person unless you were talking politics, the Steelers or the Badgers were losing, or you were late. He laughed easily and was very friendly. Thank God all of his children, the three of us, and 5 grandchildren, learned the importance of finding humor in life and the ability to laugh at ourselves from my father. Golf was like a second girlfriend. The girlfriend was there, luring him away from his family all weekend. Golf was a place of comfort, solace, and pure joy for my father. He played golf before he could drive at 9 years old. He was entered into the School Hall of Fame. He played golf at the University of Wisconsin-Madison and played in the Israeli Olympics on the Maccabean team. He played in the club championships at Beachmont, and he played golf on championship golf courses around the world, including the renowned golf courses in Ireland where he got a hole-in-one. He loved playing golf with Jackie, and it was such a special moment when my father was there and Jackie got a hole-in-one. My dad did not have a lot of experience playing with golfers with limited golf experience or skills. So my dad and I played in Northern Virginia during one of his visits, and I hit the shot, a shot that went over the water, over the green. The shot went long. It went very, very long. It landed on the deck of a home where adults and children were standing. Unfortunately, the cart path that led us right past the homeowner's home, where I had just hit, was right there, right behind the green. My father's response was long. It was very, very long. But the short version for today was, "Oi, Dean, are you kidding me?" Dad was very happy with Jackie. She helped make home a place of happiness and comfort. The sun rose and set with Jackie. He took great joy in her accomplishments and abilities. Dad shared the love of golf, the love of travel, family, Judaism, college football games. He always said how proud he was to be with her and how fond he was of Jackie's son, Jimmy. Dad was always passionate about his work. He worked in sales for Donegal, Bobby Brooks, and M&D Simon. He bought Forest City Products as a young man, and through hard work and tenacity, he built that into what became Sentinel Consumer Products, a health and beauty aid company with 3 manufacturing plants and over 400 employees. Robin and Elizabeth and me all worked for Sentinel at one point in time. I worked in the warehouse, Elizabeth and Robin in marketing. Dad and Sentinel innovated by introducing color to the marketplace. That was really sort of significant at that time. And he felt an enormous amount of responsibility for his employees and their families. It is overwhelming to capture in a few sentences my parents' relationship. Their love and commitment to each other and our family transcended their marriage. My parents remained part of each other's lives until the end. Dad had tremendous integrity. He was a loyal and faithful friend. He was kind and he was loving. He was funny and fun to be around. He was smart and most of all, at the end of the day, a really good person. He was direct, as we know, and very honest, and he valued that in other people. He was present, he showed up, and it was an honor to know him, to love him, and to be part of his life. I'd like to imagine now that right now Dad is pulling together his friends for the best golf game ever. We love and miss you, Dad.
Hi, everyone. My name is Zachary, and I am Mike's grandson. The brief remarks I'm about to make have been prepared by and are spoken from the hearts of his grandchildren, myself and my sister Zoe, and my cousins Leah, Jacob, and Jonah. There are infinite words one could use to describe our grandfather, but some might include generous, strong-willed, uncompromising, and fierce. To our grandfather, family was the most important thing. It was the root of all of his decisions and his number one priority. From a young age, each of us felt his presence in our lives. Our strong relationship and connection as cousins is attributable to our family's two strong leaders, my grandfather and my grandmother, Margie. Despite their divorce, they remained committed to a unified family, demonstrating the ways in which love can truly transcend any disagreement. My grandfather was invested in seeing greatness in his sports teams, in his family members, in his favorite businesses, and in his community. His joy was derived from seeing things reach their full potential. Over the past few days, we have selected and written a memory with our grandfather that we feel exemplifies his character and relationship with each of us. I will now read each of these memories on behalf of my 4 oldest cousins, and then Jacob will say some words after me. One of my strongest connections with my grandfather was our shared love for the University of Wisconsin-Madison, which we both attended along with my sister Zoe and my aunts Robin and Elizabeth, and my grandmother, and her brother. There's a lot of us. Grandpa and Jackie frequently visited Madison to attend football games. My sophomore year of college, Wisconsin was playing Ohio State. My father and my cousin Leah, regrettably both Buckeyes, were in town for the big game. I was living in a shared co-ed house, a concept most foreign to my grandfather, but I was excited to show him my life at school. I spent the preceding days to Grandpa's visit tidying up and cleaning. When Grandpa arrived, I took him and Jackie to my house on Bassett Street. Grandpa made it as far as the living room and was probably the quietest I had ever seen him. When I asked if he wanted to see upstairs in my room, he looked at me, said, "I'm good," and walked straight out the door. Funny as it was, this was just one of the many examples of the way in which my grandfather provided support on his own terms, without lowering his standards or sacrificing his expectations of me. He recognized what I was capable of and refused to let me settle for anything less. The following is on behalf of my cousin Jonah. My grandfather was a wonderful man. He lived a life that was full of pride, joy, and happiness. Whatever my grandfather was involved in, he made sure it was done the right way. He never cut corners, and he made sure others were happy. He was dedicated to anything he started, and I admire that. The support I have received from him throughout my life is unexplainable, always putting his family first. One of my favorite memories was the last time I saw him. We met for lunch at his favorite diner, Corky and Lenny's, to catch up and arrange plans for the future. We were able to have quality time together. He always wanted to know what was going on in life, making sure that I succeeded in whatever I planned to do. Even though we had our differences, he made sure to see my side, even if we didn't agree. Albert Einstein once said, "Our death is not an end if we can live on in our children and the younger generation. For they are us, our bodies are only wilted leaves on the tree of life." Eating at Corky's was one of the best times I've had with him, joking around, just being more than a grandfather, being a friend. The following is on behalf of my cousin Leah. When deciding what story to mention today that best describes his kindness, generosity, and presence in our lives, I was swarmed with memories, vacations and holidays, weddings and sports games, and it's been understandably difficult to choose my favorite. But the one that keeps coming back was a rather recent one, a family dinner we had for his 80th birthday. We met at his favorite steakhouse with family from out of town and all sat down for an evening of love and laughter. Grandpa was a strong man who picked his moments to show his emotional side to the world, and on this night he was excited to share how much love and respect he had for each of us. My favorite memories with him were the ones that many may consider the more simple ones, and that's because it was a privilege and joy just to spend time with him. He was always unapologetically himself, something many of us can learn from. He was a man who lived a fulfilled life because he lived every day taking every opportunity life had to offer. He loved life and was able to be happy and present until he left our lives, surrounded by loved ones until his final moments. There aren't words to describe how much we will miss his larger-than-life presence in our family and in the world. The way he would whistle when he came to our house so that everyone would know he was near, the Father's Day celebrations at Beachmont, the golf outings, the holidays. Grandpa was a great man, and I'm blessed to have had him in my life and to be a part of his legacy. The following is on behalf of my sister Zoe. Grandpa was my biggest cheerleader and always supported me in the fullest. Whenever he would see me, the first thing he would say is, "I believe in you. You can do anything in the world that you want to do. Sports, business, life, you can do anything." One day when walking around Dick's with my dad and I, he picked up the newest softball bat off the shelf, looked at me, and the next thing I knew, I was riding home in the car with a brand new bat. He had so much confidence in me, as if I were the next Babe Ruth, and that is something I will never forget. This is just one example of how he truly helped me realize that the sky is the limit in life. An additional example of Grandpa's support and generosity would be one of my younger birthdays. In typical Mike fashion, he took us to Toys R Us and said, "You can pick out any 2 toys you want in the whole store." Naturally and strategically, I identified and chose the literal life-size stuffed horse, which was 3 times the size of my body at the time. Much to my parents' chagrin, Grandpa thought this was hilarious and immediately agreed. That horse took up half my room, but was a constant fixture throughout my childhood, much like our grandfather. I will miss his laughter and his support. One of the greatest joys in our relationship with Grandpa was the introduction of his partner, Jackie, into our family. To say that Jackie had a positive impact on our grandfather would be an extreme understatement. We, as his grandchildren, will be forever grateful for the love that she gave not only to our grandfather, but to our entire family. It is extremely important that we now address Jackie and let her know that while our grandfather is gone, she is a part of this family forever. We look forward to seeing her and giving her a big hug and kiss at every holiday, visit, and celebration. Our grandfather was a larger-than-life presence and a man of conviction. Despite any disagreements we ever had, our values remained aligned. He was an irreplaceable force, and we will think of him fondly and miss him greatly for the rest of our lives. Thank you.
Hello, friends, family, and anyone else who knew Michael Klein. I'm here today to say all of the good things that he has done and all the positive things that he has done for everyone here today. He and I had a lot of fun trips, like when he came to Brooklyn to see me play soccer and to my bar mitzvah. When I was younger, he used to take me on some of the putting greens to play golf and encouraged me to get better at it when I was not as good at golf. Throughout all the time that I knew Grandpa, he always made me a better person. He encouraged me to have success. He and I had special times at restaurants and going to shopping markets and saying funny comments. He was a fun person to be around. I know that when you were around Grandpa, that everyone had fun around you and everyone enjoyed themselves. It was very, very meaningful for me, that he was at my bar mitzvah, for him to go all the way from Ohio to see me and spend time with me. A few weeks from now, he was planning to spend some time with me, and he told everyone it would be my time with the Jake. In total, I know that he was a great person. He did everything he could possibly do to make me proud. He was one of the most special people in my life. I know that we're all going to miss him.
Thank you all for your beautiful, heartfelt words. Birth is a beginning and death a destination. But life is a journey, a going, a growing from stage to stage. From childhood to maturity and youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, From foolishness to discretion, then perhaps to wisdom. From weakness to strength, or strength to weakness, and often back again. From health to sickness, and back we pray to health again. From offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love. From joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, and grief to understanding. From fear to faith. From defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey, stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination. But life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage made stage by stage to life everlasting. Amen. If you're able, please rise now for El Malei Rachamim. El Malei Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Hamsei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, Im Kedoshim Otehorim, Kezar Harakia Mazhirim, Et Nishmat, Moshe ben Avraham, Shalach La'olamo, Baal Harachamim, Yasirechu Beseter Kenafav La'olamim, Vayitzror Bitzror Chachayim Et Nishmato, Hadonai Hu Nachalato, V'genuach B'Shalom Amishkavo, V'nomar, Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to our beloved Michael Klein, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let him find refuge in your eternal presence, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is his inheritance. May he rest in peace, and let us all say, Amen. Please be seated. This concludes our service. Here we'll proceed from here to Beit Olam Cemetery for burial. Following burial, the Klein family will be observing Shiva today at Beachmont Country Club until 8 p.m. and Monday and Tuesday at the residence at Point East at 27050 Cedar Road, Penthouse 1 from 5:30 to 8 p.m. Thank you. Point East address is 27500 Cedar Road. help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your protector will not slumber. The protector of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is